students of business studies, welcome to today's business studies session. And in today's business studies session, I shall be continuing with the topic managing business risk. And under this heading, managing business risk, I shall continue with the point number 7. Point number 7 is that we can manage business risk by means of assuming a risk. So when we talk about assumption of the risk, there are two types of assumptions: voluntary assumption of risk and involuntary assumption of risk. What is voluntary assumption of risk? Voluntary assumption of risk is that you know that there is a risk in the business, but you are not able to find out a solution for that risk, and that is called as voluntary assumption of risk. Next one is involuntary assumption of risk. What is involuntary assumption of risk? Is that suppose I am a business entrepreneur, I do not even know that there exists a risk in the business. I am not at all aware of the risk existing in the business. That is called involuntary assumption of risk. Okay. Now coming to the 8th point, dividing risk. How can I manage risk? I can manage risk by dividing the risk. So how do I divide the risk? I divide the share. That is the risk is shared by pooling of the investment. Investment is pooled among the business partners, and thereby the loss is shared among the shareholders. So this is dividing of risk. Then next is insurance. Now I can manage risk by having my organization insured for covering up of the losses. So insurance is done for covering up of the losses. Now while insuring for the losses, the insurance companies, they indemnify the first party. The first party means the party that is going to take the cover. So it indemnifies. That is, indemnifies means, what does it mean is that the insurance company will cover up the losses only till certain limit. That is, it may cover up until say 60% or 70%, and rest of the risk has to be borne by the owner. So this is how, by taking insurance, an organization can manage risk. So the segment of managing business risk is over, children. And today I shall continue another segment, that is causes of business failures. So is off one again. Okay, students. Now for today's session, I shall be taking up another subtopic: causes of business failures. So there are many causes for business failures, but causes can be classified as internal cause and external cause. So I shall describe each one of them separately. So in today's session, I shall describe about the internal causes. Now, internal causes includes negative events. Now, what are negative events? Negative events means an organization when run by an inexperienced or an inexperienced person, then negative events sets in the organization. Now, so that is, a person who runs the organization should be an experienced person and should be an expert in running an organization. If not, then the organization faces failure. Now, the other reason under the head called the negative events is specific causes. Specific causes here means that majority of the organizations, they have their relatives and friends as their partners. So when relatives and friends are the partners in a business organization, business dealings cannot be carried out in a frank manner. So there are all chances for misunderstandings and resulting in failure of the business organization. Now, the second factor which I would like to discuss is premature scaling. What is premature scaling? Premature scaling is a situation where unexpectedly the business keeps on growing in a rapid manner, where the management is not able to keep a control over it, and because of the situation that the management is not able to control the rapid growth, it results in failure. So sudden rapid growth which is not controllable can also result in failure of an organization. For example, you can take up Sudiksha's downfall, where the growth was very rapid, which was uncontrollable. It resulted in a downfall. Now, the next reason is fund shortfall. If an organization lacks knowledge in management of finance, then it can result in a failure. Then wrong financing source. If the management has the financing source, if the management has finances from a wrong source, that can also lead to failure. Miscalculation of financing the fund. If miscalculations happen in fund financing, then that also can result in failure. Then underestimation of the borrowed money. Underestimation of the borrowed money. That is, when money is borrowed, it has to be paid back in right time. But paying back the borrowed money in right time depends on one factor. That is the credit factor. If the production takes place, if the products are distributed, and if the money inflow is not in the right time, then what happens? It results in debt. And as a result, this also causes failure in business. Now, the fourth factor, inadequate profit. Now, an organization can fail in its business if it is running in severe debts, and severe debts can be a result of low profit or no profit at all. And sometimes excess of profit can also lead to a failure in a business organization when that profit is not channelized properly. If the profit is not channelized properly in running the business, and if it is channelized in an unproductive manner, then the organization can fail. Then labor problems. Number 5, poor recruitment of laborers. Then poor training can also lead to failure of a business organization. Then poor compensation. Then poor compensation also is one of the reasons for failure of a business organization. If compensation is not of good quality, then the organization cannot flourish. Then quitting of employees or unproductive employees. If employees keep on quitting an organization, then the organization will not be stable. On the other hand, if there are employees who are there in the organization for a very long period of time, but they are very unproductive, even then the organization will not grow. So these are the two phases of this particular point. Now, coming to point number 6, small customer base. Any smart businessman will never keep a small customer base. He will always widen his customer base, because if one customer fails, he will have the opportunity of approaching the other customer. So, small customer base always leads to failure of a business organization. That is why the customer network should be very, very wide in order to sustain losses. Then, poor implementation. Point number 7. Poor product design. If the product design is very, very bad, then the business may fail. Faulty pricing. If pricing is not reasonable, business may fail. Improper distribution. If distribution channel is not proper, business may fail. Then operational problems. Operational problems like availability of raw materials, then maintenance of the capital equipment, or maintenance of the labor. All these are all operational problems. If these are not rectified, then the business will fail. Then sick enterprise. Considering all these points, if the entire organization is sick, then the business will definitely fail. Now coming to the last point. Now I am coming to the last point, lack of governance. Lack of governance means what? Efficiency of running an organization. If the efficiency is lacking, then the business will fail. Now, what are the reasons for what are the reasons for the failure under this head? One is embezzlement. If embezzlement takes place in an organization, that is, if fraudulent affairs take place in an organization, business will fail. Then unethical behavior will lead to failure of a business. Lack of commitment among the top leaders, say for instance directors, board of directors, then CEOs. If they lack commitment, the business will fail. Then lack of moral values. If there is no moral value, if they don't give any value towards the business functioning, then the business organization will definitely fail. For example, Satyam Computers. Everybody is aware of this organization. It failed miserably because of all these above 4 factors under the head lack of governance. Thank you, children. Tomorrow I shall be dealing with external reasons for failure.